welcome back. This is Frank Brockart. Today we're drawing She-Hulk. Let's get into it. Alright, welcome back guys. Alright, we're drawing She-Hulk and we're starting out with a little light blocking, for the pose. So, She-Hulk is always about confidence, man. She stands tall, powerful, but still has that playful edge. When I draw her, I want to draw her, I want to try to at least capture both the strength and her personality. Unlike Bruce, she embraces her transformation, so her body language is way more confident. Now, next, I like to try to lock in, like my line work. I'm keeping the lines bold and clean as I can, even though there's some little wigglies, little, nervousness in there. But, I try my best, because, She-Hulk deserves that comic book punch. I really like emphasizing her muscles, like her arms, legs, shoulders, because that's where her power shows, that's where she shows like, that massiveness of her body, It depends on the different artists, but, some artists draw, with some big powerful legs, some more, short torso, some shows like an equal proportion where she has a large chest and then large legs or whatever, and then some do maybe a short torso and then more power in the legs, but I try to keep it a little even as far as the proportions of She-Hulk. So but I also wanted her face to be expressive, not just serious. And just I did my best. I guess I wanted to show because as you read the scene, they're running from Galactus, so of course she's like jumping in the air, avoiding people. She's gonna be like, oh, so I just put like a the average kind of like face I would think a person She-Hulk would have. Now, as far as her outfit, I went for the classic purple and white look. It's iconic. It really, pops against like her green skin. I'm also adding some small details in the hair because long flowing hair always gives that sense of motion and energy. Now, here comes like the fun part, and that's, the coloring. The coloring part, is, oh man, I thoroughly enjoy it because, you can make some gradients, you can do like that, signature green tone, but, you can add like little highlights in there, some, like I said, some gradients, like, from a dark green to a light green, different types of green, you can mix it in. So yeah, I usually, try to do like different layers, and if I can, but sometimes I'll just keep with one layer and try to build up shadows and darker shades, to give her like more body, some more depth. I try to stick with like a light color, like a medium color, and then like a dark color, and then we have like our blacks, or where like our deep blacks or whatever. So, so I like having those different shades, really make the character pop more. So, I'm doing that again here. So, I wish I had went a little bit further, but yeah, I think it was good enough to kind of leave it alone. You can just detail to death and just add and add and add. Sometimes you got to know when to push away a little bit when it comes to coloring. So, I never want my characters to look flat, and SheHULK's strength should jump off the page. You know what I'm saying? So her costume is like a great contrast. The purple adds like energy, makes her stand out, while the white balances everything. When I add shading, I think about like light sources, where it hits her muscles, where shadows fall. That would make her look more three-dimensional, in my personal opinion. Now, as far as the background, I kept it rather simple, because we're going to be adding, her to a scene. So, of course, there's no need to add any, backgrounds or anything. I just kind of made like highlights, that would kind of like go along like the edges of the character, just to make her stand out a little bit more and also fit to the scene and make her pop. So, and there you have it. SheHULK, strong, confident, full of personality. Let me know your comments, man. Let me know what you think. Is this good, bad? And don't forget to like and subscribe and share and enjoy this with all your friends. So thanks for watching Frank Brockart. And remember, draw big, draw bold, and keep creating. Peace out.